There's no blueprint on how to beat me.
They got an ad for him.
Joe Louis had come out of retirement to fight Rocky Marciano. The man was 76 years old.
Your biggest payday is facing me. Without me, you're not getting shit.
One down, one to go.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Allow me to demonstrate the skill of Shaolin, the special technique of shadow boxing.
Now that was a great boxer.
Damn right.
Kill him, buddy. The head will die. Ollie Frazier fight.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Money Mark coming at you guys. Okay, that messed up the camera. I'm gonna stop doing that. Coming at you guys on another edition for Two to the Body podcast. I'm your boy Money Mark, always coming with my homeboy One Way Renzo.
What's good,
what up,
man?
One Way? How you doing? Is
I'm
it
doing.
one way? But you want it to be one way?
You want
but
it
it's
to be
gonna
one
be
way?
the other way.
But it's the other way.
It's always the other way.
One of my favorite lines of all time. I named myself after it.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, obviously it has to be two sides.
Hey, it must be two sides.
You know what I'm saying?
I named myself after that too. Matter of fact, I need to stop having or being introduced to a different kind of media that I can get names from. So that's the one TV show, one rap song that I took names from. But I appreciate both of them because there are two sides to everything. But you want it to be one way, but it's the other way today. It makes sense.
It's almost like the same thing if you think about it. Like, must be two sides and you one way. So it's the same. It's kind of the same thing if you think about it. I mean, if you break down both quotes, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So here at the Two to the Body podcast, we
Bang,
talk
bang.
about multiple topics, whether that have to do with the combat sports arena, rather it be hands, feet, knees, elbows, word of mouth, whatever. We
all
cover
8
it.
limbs.
All 8 limbs.
8
We
points of
cover
contact,
it.
I should say.
8 points of contact, we cover it. And we break it down round for round. So kicking off this round, what do you got for us, Renzo?
Well,
Ding ding.
I'm going to start off with this past weekend's UFC card. Now, it started at 2:00 Eastern time. So for me, it was an amazing card. It's nothing like an overseas fight in my mind or in my life period, because that means by 6, 7, 8 o'clock, bro, the fight's over. I can go on about my business. I love to see Anthony Joshua fight in the UK because that means this fight is coming on at 5 o'clock and I got the rest of the evening to do what I want to do. But this particular case, 2:00 p.m. starting time, awesome card that they had lined up. The only thing that I didn't like about the card is that I couldn't pronounce most of the names in the card. Now, the card was filled with a whole bunch of people that rock with Khabib Nurmagomedov.
I mean, yeah.
The whole card was his homie. Everybody
Listen.
that fought was his homie.
Everybody in that arena was his homies, bro. It was the Khabib, like it was just a lot of things going on. There's like, I guess the little guy, what's the fella's name? Hezbollah. I guess he's like I don't know what is he like a comedian or
It might, I don't know, and I don't want to assume anything.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, I don't want to assume anything.
I mean, honestly, the little fella could have even be taken out of context. So listen,
hey,
you
bro,
want no smoke?
Did I think it was a baby at first, but then I looked again. I wasn't sure. And once you hit that, you're not sure. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Unless he out here like Vern.
You know why you thought it was? You know why you thought whoever that is was a child? It's because them cats were rubbing his head, like Daniel Cormier, like rubbed him on the head, and I'm like, listen. I'm not like the most nuanced human being in the world. Like I called him a little fella, right? Like, I'm not the most nuanced.
I know fucking baby, man.
But if that is a little person, you don't rub them on the head, right?
Nah, man.
Whatever. Listen, I love Daniel Cormier. I'm not here for the cancellation Daniel Cormier. So like, hey, we ain't gonna get viral out canceling Daniel Cormier.
Nah, man.
If we do get viral, I mean, sorry, Daniel. But anyways,
we ain't gonna cancel
continue with your route,
Daniel. But the full of Khabib's homeboys, and I definitely appreciated it. I'm gonna go straight into the Islam fight. A lot of people been waiting to see Islam fight for the simple fact that Islam been talking mad shit the whole time he's been in the UFC, and the fact that they built up this fight as the best Chinese male MMA guy of all time in the UFC. Gave me some pause to be like, yo, so he fighting nobody again. But to that point,
you're confusing him for KHAMZAT CHIMAEV. He fought the Asian fella.
I thought Islam
fought Dan Hooker, which
see, and there we go. And we're off. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of names I can barely pronounce. All of them are Habib's friends. So KHAMZAT CHIMAEV, that's his name.
Yeah.
Okay. KHAMZat.
Yeah. Is it KHAMZat or COSMA? Anyway, it's CHIMAEV.
It's one of them. CHIMAEV. CHIMAEV went out there with the greatest Chinese male MMA guy of all time. That's what, bro. I didn't say that. They told me that. The UFC broadcast told me that this was the greatest Chinese fighter that was male of all time. That means the first one is Zhang Weili. Period. That's just what I'm saying. So, with that being said, he went out there. Soon as the fight started, he went across the cage. He picked this man up and walked him over there to Dana White to have a conversation. And he proceeded to beat this man's ass. Even though this man was giving it all he had, he actually had to go to sleep to lose that fight. And I appreciated that because that's what you do when you're the greatest Chinese MMA guy of all time in the UFC. But to that point, he went on, he won, and now he's ready to move up in the division and possibly get someone in the top 5, top 3, maybe even a title shot. So it's going to be nice to see that. It's going to be nice to see him fight someone like a Colby Covington or fight someone like a Kamaru Usman. That's what we're going to be here for. Now, fast forward to that. We see the Islam and Dan Hooker fight. Wow. I didn't realize that Dan Hooker could be beat that fast. Seems like that everybody now, from now on, that goes into a fight with Dan Hooker should try to tackle that man because he had no answers for this man on the ground. And we went into that fight knowing that Dan Hooker throws hands, feet, elbows, anything he has to throw in order to be great at what he's doing. And that just didn't pan out for him. And hell, he was more.
Dan ain't them, bro. That's all it is. Dan's really good, but he's just not them.
No, he's not.
He's not them. He's not Volkanovski. He's not Adesanya.
No, he's not. I mean, he's not even. I forget his name, but the Brazilian guy that does all the cool kicks and stuff like that. He fought Dan Hooker.
I know you're talking about. You're talking
Barbosa,
about
Leandro Barbosa.
Barbosa.
You know what I'm saying? He's not even a Barbosa, so to speak. And I only say that because we know, because of where he's from, Barbosa is understood to have somewhat of a ground game because of his environment. We don't really see that with Dan Hooker. So if you're not standing up with Dan Hooker, I mean, Dan Hooker probably doesn't have that much of a chance. But we saw that this man, who is basically Habib reincarnated in the UFC arena, just go in there and handle his business again. And that leads me to the last fight that I want to talk about on this card is the light heavyweight championship. Now, why is this light heavyweight championship mean anything? I don't know. John Jones is no longer with that belt. So I don't know why I care. I'm just playing. I tell you exactly why I care. Because the division is wide open. I knew going into this fight between these two particular guys, you have one guy, I've seen him fight Adesanya, and I've seen him wrestle Adesanya to the ground after not being able to take all these punches and stuff. So I knew that's what he was going to rely on if he was getting beat on his feet in this fight. Glover Teixeira, to his credit, came into that fight and immediately started going to the ground. So if you can't beat me on the ground, if I got hands to put on you when we stand up, there's no way for you to go. There's no way for you to win. That basically was the whole of that fight. You saw Glover Teixeira go in there and start using his hands, tackling, and once he got him to the ground, after realizing that, hey, if I get up from this, there's nothing I can do, ends up flat on his stomach, gets choked out, loses his belt to the oldest man on the card and probably the oldest man on the roster. But it's going to look good for the UFC because now they'll have a young champion real soon because Glover only has, 1 or 2 fights left in him?
So I'm going to say this. For Islam, I'll go back to Islam for a hot second. Hooker has fought against ground guys and done well. I think Islam is just, his ground game is that good. He gonna lose though. And that's what's unfortunate about that.
Yeah.
I just think that I wonder how he fares against Gagey, against the rest of them, because the rest of those guys aren't hoes. They're there. So that's my thing with that. As for Glover versus Yan, so Yan is not a volume striker. Glover has actually a pretty solid chin. So, you know, if Yan can't really like impose his will, knock you out, because this is what I'll say about him versus Adesanya. It got to a point where your boy was actually doing decent against Adesanya. He on the feet, he wasn't necessarily getting outclassed. Like I rewatched that because I had to rewatch that fight to try to figure out what was going on with that. And he wasn't necessarily getting like beat. It was just getting to the point where I think Adesanya towards that last round, the fear of him knocking him out kind of went out the window, and he started to understand his timing. And I think he made the right decision to put him on his ass. I was like, okay, no. Like, no.
Let me be a bigger man.
Yeah, like, no, we're not doing that. Like, because I mean, at the end of the day, what we'll say about this is this. Even though Adesanya was so much smaller than him, he understood what was in front of him.
Yeah.
And that to me tells me that his knowledge of striking is way more vast than it appears to be. Like it's, you know, I don't understand the Polish power and all that other stuff, but like his level of actually striking, because like, let's be real, we've seen Adesanya stand in front of other strikers who are supposed to be way better than him, and they don't know what to do. So yeah, so we'll give him that. So when I looked at that, I was like, okay, obviously he's going to keep him off of him, right? But the fact that he's a striker, he has a very good body kick. And he throws it, you know, at the end of combinations. Not a lot of people that size do that, to be honest. So, you know, he's very strong. See, from what I saw of him against Adesanya, like obviously he knows how to strike, right?
Yeah.
He may be more of a defensive striker, or he may be more of a singular striker who relies on his power. He seems like he has a very like Dutch style that's very like poof, 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 very stiff.
It's just very stiff. But I honestly thought that he should be able to keep Glover off of him. Now, Glover has a good chin, and Glover is going to push the pace. And as of late, man, I mean, that guy started off as a jiu-jitsu player. He wasn't a wrestler or a striker or whatever. That happened later. He came over there to not Extreme Couture, I forgot whatever Chuck Liddell's gym is. He came over there as a jiu-jitsu guy, and they taught him how to do everything else. Yeah.
So it's good to see him win.
Yeah,
I'll say it's for the rest of the division. I think they're gonna do a rematch and he's gonna lose.
Well, I mean,
that's what's happening.
That'd be nice. I mean, it'd be nice. I mean, he's basically George Foreman of the UFC right now, man. So anything after this is just, you know, it's icing on the cake, bro. I mean,
yeah. I don't
accomplish so much.
Yeah, I think to expect him to win again is like, I mean, I understand that Glover Teixeira is a legend and he's all these things, but come on, are we gonna put him in there against Thiago Santos? I just don't think that's just gonna be. I don't think that's gonna be.
Well, we'll find out if Thiago Santos can wrestle.
Are we gonna put him? Are we gonna put him against Dominic Reyes? Like I just don't see it.
That's what I'm saying, man. That the UFC in a weird position with this belt going to his hand, because all the matches that we think can be made, they just sound like unfair, don't they? So to speak. They really feel unfair. And that is us downplaying a little bit, not on purpose, but downplaying what Glover Teixeira has done. But not necessarily. We just big up in these young dudes. Like if you can go in there and beat these young dudes, then cool. But I don't think he can beat these young. I don't think they'll give him the kind of time and space that Jan Blachowicz did.
Yeah, Jan Blachowicz is he's slow and precise.
Yeah, man.
What are you gonna do? I just wonder what Glover is really gonna do against Thiago Santos or Dominic Reyes. Like,
I would like to see it too.
I just don't see it, and I don't see any of those matches really being.
They're
gonna have to do a rematch.
I like to see him fight Johnny Walker. I mean, shit, I watch anything at this point, man. Like with a light heavyweight in there, bro. They're just gonna be in there. Matter of fact, you got one finna move up soon, probably. And Paulo Costa, he probably gonna move up the light heavyweight. Hell, he got an opportunity now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, Paulo Costa beat the shit out of Glover.
Yeah, man. I'm just saying. I want to see all this stuff now.
Look, I could be. Listen, no disrespect. I just don't see it.
Yeah,
I've seen his last couple of bouts, and I just he's just Jan. I think matchups make fights, and I think Jan Blachowicz is just a good matchup for him.
Yes, he was.
Listen, not knocking him and not taking anything away from him, but to expect him to hold that title for more than maybe one or two more fights is just wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's outrageous. It's outrageous, even.
It's just I don't.
It's outrageous, man. He got about one or two more fights left in him. He will not leave with that belt unless he leaves tomorrow. Bottom line, man.
Basically,
so I went into watching that fight expecting him to leave his gloves in the octagon.
Me too.
So
I thought Jan was gonna knock him out.
Yeah, that's
I honestly did.
And he did not. So
hey.
Fights go on, man. That's why you get an octagon, bro. Any given time you get in there, you can win or lose, bro.
Yeah, if he beats Jan again, he should probably retire.
Oh, hey, man, instant Hall of Famer, bro. Instant classic.
He already is a Hall of Famer. So it's just like
Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
True.
That's my opinion. So yeah, does that conclude the round one way?
Well, let me not get out of here by not putting out there that Cory Sandhagen and PETR YAN did fight on the same card. I didn't mention it earlier because it was for a belt, which is the interim title, but it's really being treated like the actual title because the title holder is Aljamain Sterling, and that's a conversation for a whole nother day. So the UFC champion in that division, to me, is Yan, but on paper, it's definitely Aljamain. We'll see how that goes if they ever get to run it back.